Hey guys, welcome back to the shop. I need to build a go bar deck because I have some bracing I need to glue down on my acoustic guitar tops and backs. I toyed with the idea of making a vacuum system to do this with, and I probably will in the future. But for now, this is the most economical, easiest, I guess would be the word, and extremely functional way of doing this. Doing the bracing on the inside face of a top and a back on a guitar. Hang on, let me turn this pump off. Sorry about that, it gets loud in here. And I wrestled with the ideas of, how to do this video. I started to go through a long discussion of, or description, I should say, of what a go bar deck is, but it will become glaringly apparent. And I don't need to explain every single thing, you'll get it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take two surfaces for you guys who are unfamiliar with what a go bar deck is. It is an ancient, very, very old way of clamping things down to a surface, clamping pieces together using two level surfaces and usually wood or fiberglass rods. This rod will be down on the piece you're gluing, and then this would go into the next surface above and hold it there like that with tension, as you can see, right? And you increase the tension by moving the level surface above or by making longer rods or stiffer rods. It's a very, very old way of gluing things together. Luthiers have been using it for centuries, furniture makers. So anyway, you'll see what it's all about when we get it going. I won't get any further into it than that because it tends to go too long. I'll start talking about all kinds of stuff. We don't need to do that. So let me show you what I got. I got two pieces of this Baltic birch, 24 by, slightly under 24 because you can't cut a 48-inch piece without taking some away, right? So I think it's 24 by 23 3/4. When I cut my original, I'm not even gonna get into that yet, just hang on. So I got those two. I'll show you my parts. And I'm gonna be using these right here, these long nuts. I'm not sure what they're called. And these thumb screws to tighten. And I'm gonna be using these 8mm rods to hold the two surfaces apart. And this will give me plenty of room to adjust my height on this upper surface. I'm going to be using some maple that I'm going to drill holes through. I'm going to drill in this face big enough to epoxy that nut into. So it will be inset into this like that. The rod will go through that hole there, and then you'll be able to drive the thumb screw into it to stop it from moving. There'll be two pieces on the bottom with those holes in it also, so it can be taken apart and moved out of the way when I don't need to use it because it's a little cumbersome and it takes up 4 square foot of space or 8 cubic feet or whatever that would be. It's space in every shop, unless you're crazy, got a huge facility, space needs to be used wisely, right? Okay, so we want to be able to take the same part when we get out. So that's the plan. Now you can see I already drilled my 8mm holes in this piece and, hold on, these two pieces, which will be on the bottom surface. And the reason I'm using these big pieces on the bottom like this is because it will stiffen the bottom and it will raise it up above the table surface. Okay? So I'm going to use little blocks on the top one. You're going to see. You're going to see it all come to shape. I don't want to explain too much because it's more fun to just watch it take place, right? So now I need to drill a couple of 10mm holes right here where I have it marked out. Okay, so we need to set up to drill these 10mm holes. Let's get that done. The 9mm right there, 10mm goes here. And I got a little piece of tape on there as a depth gauge, It'll tell me how far I need to go. Because it's kind of small, I'm going to grab a clamp to hold on to that with. And we'll use one of these clamps Good old Jordanson wood clamp. That, and that gives you something to hold on to. This piece isn't grabbing it and snatching it out of your hand. Just in case something goes weird. Already got all the holes marked. Now, I'm going to go ahead and set my stop on my drill press. Then I don't have to worry about it too much. Got a stop over here I can set. And you just go through the motions. This is why we clamp things. Like that. Alright, here we go. We're back. So now we have the holes drilled. These two I'm going to cut in half. That'll give me 4 blocks, one for each corner, the post running up through. This obviously has 2 in it. It will be glued down underneath this surface. All right, like that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to glue these in to these holes right here. Now these holes are almost exactly right for this to fit into. They're a little bit tight, and I want it to be like that. This is where it gets a little tricky. What I'm going to have to do, and I don't even know that I really have to glue these in. I may not, because it's not going to have a whole lot of pressure against it, but I think I will. My plan is this. Let me just tell you what my plan is, and we'll go from there. This is what I got cooking in my head, and it's a may or may not work all that great kind of thing. But don't be afraid to try stuff, because if you don't try stuff, you don't know if it'll work, right? Sometimes you try things and you're like, man, that just turned out like crap. But that's okay, because you learn something. You learn, don't do it like that. So that's a valuable thing to learn, man. Don't be afraid to fail. It's something I learned a long time ago. Don't be afraid to fail. If you try something and you fall flat on your face, it sucked, you can stand up and say, okay, we know that does not work. Or you try it again and you keep doing it until you get it right. All right, so I'm thinking that we can just tap these into these holes. Let's find out. That's what I was thinking. You see that? That fits in there. Now, I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and drive them in, and I'm going to see how well just that alone works. This is my 8mm rod. Got the hole drilled in this block already. As you can see, that goes in there. See? Okay. Now you're starting to understand where I'm coming from? This is going to be my clamp on the rod, my rod clamp. I'm going to tap this in so it fits right. Okay, it's on the rod right now. That may have been a little too much because now it's tight. Yep, I was afraid of that. All right, hold on. Tapped it in a little too far. So here we go. See that? Because I'm putting a 6-sided polygon, for some reason the name of it, hexagon, escapes me. Wow, the brain is not as flexible as it used to be. Because I'm putting a 6-sided hexagon, it's slightly bigger than the 10 millimeter hole that it sets in. The little sharp edges of the hexagon grab the hole. Now what I can do is I can cut a piece of that 8mm rod, I can stick it in there and wax it real well and fill the little holes with epoxy. I don't know that I'll do that. Because if you look at this is what I'm trying to do. Okay, that's all I got to do until it gets down far enough in to where it locks onto the 8mm bar coming through. Okay, you follow me? 8mm bar goes in. Right? 8mm bar is in. I lock it. Just enough to get it to lock. I push that piece in too far. I'm going to go ahead and knock it down a little. Okay, for demonstration purposes. The rod's in the hole. This is in its perspective hole. I think you guys know it. I may be over-explaining this. This goes in. The thumb screw goes in and locks onto that 8mm bar. Okay, I mean, it's not like you got to put a pair of pliers or anything on it to hold it in place. If down the road I feel like I need to put some epoxy in there, I probably will. But at the moment, I'm feeling pretty good about it. I think I'm going to have to make these holes bigger though. I'm definitely going to have to make those holes bigger. But we'll come back and do that later. Okay, that comes right off. Thumb screw. Okay, so that's the clamps that holds the 8mm rods in place. The ones above will be adjustable. I can just loosen the clamps and I can lower or raise the deck above. Whew, you see what I'm saying? Okay, I'm gonna get all this in place and let's see what else. And then we'll go from there, okay? So hang tight, let's put some pieces in. These can mount to the bottom of this board, and then we'll just drill this hole back up through this deck. We'll mount, I'm going to cut these in half. We'll mount these four on the other deck, and then our rods can be set in place. Okay, we got all our inserts pounded in. As you can see, if I can get you up close enough, you got a hexagon and a round hole, and so you got those sharp corners gripping to keep it from twisting. Now, if you were trying to hold a leaf spring onto a Chevy truck with that, I would not suggest it, but all we're doing is just tightening up on a little rod, right? We don't need to get crazy. And it's really, really strong that way. Okay, so what's next is we need to glue these to this, our bottom part of our go deck. And that will give us our bottom clamps for our rods. All right, so we're just gonna put some glue on them and staple them in. This doesn't have to be a work of art. This is a functional clamping piece. All it has to do is clamp. And so it doesn't have to be beautiful. We'll make it nice, but not beautiful. So that's where we're going there. See that? That piece attaches to that piece. So I'm just going to put some glue on here and staple her down. A couple of clamps to hold it in place. and we're good to go. We'll just do this. Put a little glue around there like that. This thing is not going anywhere. Like that. Okay. Put that there. Clamp it in place so it doesn't slip around on us. Okay, glue this in place. My wife popped in for a second to tell me that she got me a new office chair, which is also groovy. Does your wife buy you cool stuff? You don't have a wife? What? You don't have a wife? I'm gonna leave that comment right there where it is. You fill in the blanks as you see fit. I do love my wife though. She does a lot for Worth Guitars. She's a big, big part of Worth Guitars. Matter of fact, she's pretty much the reason why Worth Guitars is here. Okay, so that's enough of that sentimental stuff. Okay, so there we go. We got this thing in place. Shifted it around a little while the glue was doing this thing. Now we can just put a few staples through here. Boom, boom, boom. And it will not move again. Let's make sure we got the depth set deep enough here. We want to crank this up. We don't want any staples sticking up. There you go, that's beautiful. We only need a few. You don't have to get crazy with it. That one there, just almost above the surface. That's okay. Okay, I'm back. The resupply agent forgot to put paper towels back in here. So I just grabbed some out of the kitchen. Okay. There we are. We don't want to make a mess. There we are. All right, can you dig it? Let's do this one. Okay, see? Holes all through. See, that one broke through. A little crappy looking. That one's clean, well cleaner. Okay. So now, this goes here, like that. We take one of the thumb screws, we run it in there like this. Run that all the way in until it engages. Now, that bar is locked in. All right, that'll hold these up. And it may be a little crooked here and there, but we got gravity working for us too. Okay? And once the other deck goes on, we're in there. Let's go ahead and get that one together. I have noticed though, these are going to have to be, they're definitely gonna have to be epoxied in because I just realized, just something, you know, you try something that don't work. Remember what I was talking before? If I tighten this into this, it pushes the nut out. Did not anticipate that. I really don't need to tighten it that tight, but still, we'll put some epoxy in there. Hold that knot in place. All right. So that's deck one. Okay? You see where we're at? You see what we're doing? That's deck one. Now we need the second half of that machine, and I need to find the deck. It's right here. Let me make sure I got it lined up. Going in the same direction and all that. Okay, so this is the edge we want to work to, like that. This is the edge we want to work to. These go up here, and we'll put them on right there. Glue these in place, and we're just going to clamp these and let them sit, and then we'll come back and drill the holes through. Okay, we're back. Got these blocks. See, I just let that glue just sit there for a minute and it holds it in place. Well, you know, longer than a minute. 3 or 4 minutes. Put a little glue in there, squish it around, let it sit. And it'll sit there once that glue starts to set. And it's a lot easier to deal with. And then you can come back and clamp it without it slipping around. If that makes any sense to you. Now I can staple it from this side. I tried stapling it from the other side, and the staples went sideways into the maple instead of through the plywood. The maple was like, no dude, the staple is not coming through me. So we're going to do it this way instead. I think that'll be fine. We got staples in there now. Man, that staple, that maple is so hard. I don't know why, but it's really fighting these staples. Even though I got it set where it should just go right in. Okay, got those pieces on. I tried stapling it through there, man, and the staple went whoop. I'll show you a picture of that. Okay, the little blocks are on. And this is the top, right? We gotta drill our holes through. Just like this. Everything lines up. We gotta drill our holes through, put in our thumb screws, throw the rods in, and you can see what this thing actually does, okay? So give me a minute, and I'll get all that going on so you don't have to watch every boring detail of it, okay? And let's see, what do I need to do? Just drill a few holes and get the rods in. All right, hold on. Holes are drilled, let's get in all the thumb screws. Okay, we got all the holes drilled. We got the inserts put in. These were already cut. We have the pieces of maple with the holes attached. All of this took me about 2 hours. 2.5. I probably got $130 worth of material. And the most expensive thing was the Baltic birch. Baltic birch is very expensive, but it's very stable because of the so many layers of laminations. You know, there's like, what, 10 laminations. And it makes it very stable and very strong. Okay, so here we are. Let's see what it looks like. Next rod. You know, if I was really smart, I'd probably put it in through the top first, then set it down on here. I think that's the way to do it, guys. So let me get the stickers off. We'll try it that way. I'm trying to use my head here. I think I may have to make the holes in the top deck a little bigger. Might be too tight. One more. This video might be a little too long. I'm trying to make these videos a little shorter, but it's really hard to do. It's hard to show you how to do anything in 15 minutes, you know what I mean? I appreciate you guys watching and showing your interest that you do. It's a very cool thing. We're 147 strong now, man. And that's awesome, all by itself. Okay, the top. Let's do the top first. And we can use gravity instead of fighting against gravity. If that makes sense. So this one has to go this way. I'll stick these in here. And I'm just going to leave them out so far. And I'm going to go down about there on each one. Okay. All right. Wow. And this goes like this. Okay. These go into these holes. That. I'm going to kind of loosen these back up. I think that was the right way to do it though. That was the sequence we wanted. That way I can loosen these up and they can find their own way. This one goes in. Tap it a little. So I've already discovered that when I do this in the future, I need to have some pieces cut, some sticks cut that are all the same size that'll hold this up for me. So I don't get, cockeyed out of shape here. Because you can see where that would be easy to do. But this is the essence of the Go Bar deck. Okay, we did it. Whew. I have to say, it was a challenge. But we got it done. And this is my Go Bar deck now. Now I can use these fiberglass rods. What am I doing? To clamp things in place, like this. You put your piece down with glue on it, you put this in. Now you have this pressure pushing down onto it. Does that make sense? You put your top or your back in, put your top or your back in, put your brace in place with a little bit of glue. You don't want to squeeze it out all over the place. And then you put this down, and that holds it right there. Pressure downward. And you can do a whole top with all the different braces. It takes about 24 of these rods. I got these rods from LMI. They're 3/16" fiberglass rods. Full disclosure on the rods, I paid too much for these. I got hooked like a fish. But I figured they were done and they were ready to go. And I was positive that LMI knew what they were doing because they are so good at the acoustic guitar business and the supplies for acoustic guitars. So LMI, it kind of got me on these though because when I went to Lowe's to buy these parts, which this hardware costs about $30, Like I say, the sheet of plywood is the most expensive, and you can probably buy half a sheet. I bought a whole sheet a long time ago. It was about $100. God only knows what a 4x8 sheet of Baltic birch costs now. But while I was in Lowe's, I saw these fiberglass rods, 1/4-inch thick, that people use to stick in their around the border of their property that have tape on them, so you can see where their borders are. You know, they use them for signals, or not signals, but you know, just so you know where your property begins and ends when you're driving at night and things like that. That I probably could cut and make my own go bars, and in the future I may do that. So you may want to look into that. But that's it. That's the essence of it right there. You see that? You take a top. I'm not going to use one of my tops because I don't want to put a dent in it yet. Let's say this was an acoustic guitar top, and I wanted to glue something down on top of there, like this piece right here. Glue. Set that down. Put this on there, and it'll hold it right in place. Bend it. That's not going anywhere. An ancient but extremely efficient way of gluing to a surface. The go bar deck. Okay? Whew! It was a battle, but we got it done. It was a battle, but we got it done. I was trying to go fast. I'll refine it a little, sand the edges and things like that. And there you go. There you have it, guys. And this will allow me to put my radius dishes in here. I can set my radius dishes in. You'll see. It will all become apparent as you follow along on the ride, okay? Thanks so much for watching. Please like and subscribe. If you like these kind of videos, please hit the like button. It helps out the channel. It does something with the algorithms. I have no idea what it is, but if you would do that, that would be groovy. And thank you so much for watching. 147 of you guys are awesome out there. And the rest of you haven't subscribed. If you're watching, you're still awesome anyway. But if you would, please hit that subscribe button. I think if you're watching the screen, it's right down there. It's a little red thing. Just click on that. Boom, subscribe. You're in here. But don't do that. It's spring loaded. All right, see you guys. Peace. Worth Guitars. We'll see you out there. All right, bye now.